Okay, let's bring in Mustafa Caner, who's an assistant professor of Iranian studies at the Middle East Institute at Sakarya University. Welcome to you, Mustafa. President Trump said that the US does want to pursue diplomacy first and foremost, which is something we've also heard from Iran. I mean, sometimes he says very aggressive things about Iran. Are you surprised at that approach we heard?
Neil, for having me. Actually, in his latest State of the Union speech, I didn't see any major policy shift regarding Iran. The tone has clearly sharpened, we can say that. However, it appears that he is intent on prepping the American public for a potential strike against Iran. He is doing this on three fronts. First, he is problematizing the Iranian regime and declaring it as illegitimate, framing the Iranian government such a government that massacres its own people. Second, he is highlighting the Iran's nuclear program, which is a known variable. But third, he has reintroduced the issue of ballistic missiles, which many thought had been pushed off the diplomatic table. So by claiming that Tehran is developing missiles capable of reaching the American soil, is actually packaging on direct threats to the American national security interests. So to me, this speech feels like a calculated attempt to build the domestic groundwork for a possible attack on Iran. So he mentioned several geopolitical subjects in his speech. He also invoked the notion of peace through strength to justify this massive military buildup across the Gulf against Iran. So I think his claim to be a peace president is being heavily tested in the Iranian theater right now.
Mustafa, one of the important things that he said, he made a big deal about this. He said, we have never heard, he called them secret words, I don't know why, but this is what he said. We've never heard the secret words from Iran, we will never have a nuclear weapon. Now, Abbas Araghchi has said that Iran isn't pursuing a nuclear weapon. Is the word never the important thing here? So, for example, if Iran comes out and says, we will never have a nuclear weapon, does that solve all the problems?
No, because there is still this massive gap between the sides. Yes, Trump noted that he hasn't heard anything like no nuclear weapon pledge from Iran. In reality, as you said, Tehran has said this repeatedly. But what Trump was meaning actually the verification mechanisms to prove that, like zero enrichment, the removal of highly enriched uranium from the country, robust inspection mechanisms like that. But Iran views its enrichment capacity as a matter of sovereignty, and it is not going to, backtrack from that. Only thing Iran is offering right now, as we heard, diluting is its highly enriched uranium. But this is not work for the United States. Iran, we know that, has enriched above 60% of the uranium and stockpiled 440 kilograms. But we know that diluting that highly enriched uranium is not going to work for Trump administration, because Trump is not going to settle for nothing less than like a 2015 deal, also known as the JCPOA, because JCPOA had limited Iran's uranium enrichment capacity to 3.67%. So anything above that level is not going to be accepted by the Trump administration. So the gap is huge. I think the sides for right now are unable to breach that gap. And it seems that tomorrow's meeting will be decisive. whether the diplomacy is going to work or we are going to see a major, possibly prolonged and very destructive, comprehensive war in our region.
Mustafa, a quick word about Venezuela, because President Trump talks about the economic benefits for the US of this, but I've yet to see an expert on international law say anything that justifies this as being a legal move. We've had the abduction of the leader of another country, and what I would argue constitutes the theft of its property, Venezuelan oil. Again, I've not seen one legal expert say that this is a legal move. Has he managed to somehow normalize this to the US public as being acceptable?
So, as you know, every international law expert is now talking about we are moving from norm-based international order to, power-based international maybe disorder. So Donald Trump is not actually minding the international law. He doesn't care about that. He believes that the only tool that is going to work in today's geopolitical struggle, this geopolitical jigsaw in Middle East, in Latin America, is the power itself. That's why he's positioning the United States as the superpower, as the sole superpower in the world. He mentioned a lot of things to prove that claim. So he actually posits the United States as the hegemon in today's world. He highlighted American exceptionalism and U.S. dominance over even over U.S. Traditional Western allies. He said that he successfully forced NATO countries to increase their defense spending from 2% to 5% of their GDP. So all of these issues are actually, to Trump, are proving that U.S. is the hegemonic power. It is the superpower, so it can do anything without minding obstacles like international law and norm-based orders like that.
Thank you very much, Mustafa. Mustafa Jana is my guest. He's Assistant Professor of Iranian Studies at Sakarya University.
Thank you, Neil, for having me.